Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we've got a bunch of Steelers news and rumors I want to catch you guys up on here on today's show. First up, we're going to talk about Darius Slay. He is getting cut by the Philadelphia Eagles, and there are some rumors swirling that the Steelers could be interested once he hits the open market. We'll talk about big play Slay at the top of today's show. Then we'll get into the latest wide receiver rumors here. Davante Adams, Brandon Aiyuk. Which one, if either of them, should the Steelers go out and get? I've got my take on what the Steelers need to do in order to land one of these big-name wide receivers this offseason. Then we'll get into a report saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be in on Sam Darnold once he hits free agency next week. I'll share you guys my take on Sam Darnold and why I don't think he's a fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we'll get into a concerning Roman Wilson report that came out last week that I wanted to address on today's show. So if you haven't seen it, I think you guys want to make it to the end of the show to find out what it is. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already for the latest free agency news and rumors this month. Obviously, next week, just a week from today, the legal tampering period in the NFL begins. So we will have live coverage for you guys all throughout free agency and, of course, breaking news coverage every time the Steelers make a big signing. So let's start here with Darius Slay, and the Philadelphia Eagles do plan on cutting Slay using a post-June 1st designation, which is going to save them a little bit over $4 million against the cap for next season. Now, the big question is, should the Steelers bring in Darius Slay? Well, he is 34 years old, so he's certainly not a young buck anymore, and he says he's heading into the final season of his NFL career. So this would be a one-year rental through and through, but he does have multiple ties to the Steelers organization. We'll start with what Slay had to say back in December about Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Everybody know Mike Tomlin. You know what I'm saying? One of the best coaches that ever do it. I love Mike Tomlin. Like if I wasn't playing for Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles, he'd be one of the next coaches I'd be wanting to play for, just because I hear such great things about him. I've met him a couple of times. We had great talks, man. I respect what he's doing over there. He respects my game. All right, so that is the connection between Darius Slay and Mike Tomlin. And also, Terrell Austin, the current defensive coordinator here in Pittsburgh, was the defensive coordinator in Detroit when Darius Slay got his first team All-Pro selection, the only one of his career with the Detroit Lions all the way back in 2017. So it certainly seems like Austin would be a pretty heavy advocate for a guy like Darius Slay to come here to Pittsburgh. Also, Omar and Andy Weidel, the GM and assistant GM combo here in Pittsburgh, are Howie Roseman disciples. All right, so they have those connections inside the Eagles organization. It's one of the reasons why Kenny Pickett was dealt to the Eagles last year, is because these guys are friends and they have each other on speed dial. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have a pretty good recommendation when it comes to Darius Slay being a former Philadelphia Eagle. Now, the thing about Slay is that he would be just a one-year rental, all right? And I know a lot of Steelers fans have the mindset that they want to build for the future, all these different things, and a one-year rental is not really feasible if you think the Steelers have a 0% chance of winning a Super Bowl. So this is a win-now move that the Steelers would make if they go out and sign Darius Slay. And personally, I would rather get a younger veteran. All right, you have a young piece in that lineup right now, Joey Porter Jr., who's still developing. So I would rather get a veteran, but I would rather get somebody with a few more years than what Darius Slay has under his belt in his career to this point. Here's a list of the 5 corners in free agency that I would rather go out and get if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd rather have Charvarius Ward. Right now, PFF projects a 3-year, $14.5 million per season contract for him. Carlton Davis is also an excellent fit scheme-wise with what the Steelers want to do. According to PFF, he can be got for 3 years, $14 million per season. DJ Reed, Asante Samuel Jr., and Byron Murphy Jr. are also some other options. Byron Murphy a little less because he's going to be a little bit more expensive. He's a little bit more younger, $17.3 million per season. But if the Steelers end up getting any of these 5 guys, I think it's a good fit for what the Steelers want to do opposite of Joey Porter Jr. But the benefit with Darius Slay is I think he's going to take a little bit less money to go to the right team. All right, he wants to win another Super Bowl. All right, and he just won one. Maybe he's a little greedy here. He wants another Super Bowl championship, but he's got 1 year left and he wants to maximize that final year. He's made a lot of money in his career, and, he's not going to take no money. It's not like he's going to go to the vet minimum, but I think he could be got for like $8 to $10 million, maybe a little bit more than that. But, if the Steelers can get a really good deal on him versus paying $14 up to $17 million per season for some of the other veterans on the open market, I could certainly see the Steelers. Mike Tomlin really likes his game. This is a team that actively pursued him in 2023 via trade. If you remember, back in the 2023 offseason, they really liked Darius Slay's game, and they think he fits with this Steelers defense. So if they can get a decent price tag for him, I think the win-now mindseted Steelers are certainly going to be looking at Darius Slay as an option. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you sign Darius Slay for a 1-year, $8 million deal? I think that this is a steal of a contract, but like I said, I would probably rather get a younger veteran, somebody that can be with this team for multiple seasons. Let me know what you guys think for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me an S or P down there in the comment section. Now let's get to Davante Adams here, where Ian Rappaport dropped this over the weekend. Sources: the Jets are now taking calls on star wide receiver Davante Adams, open to trading him prior to the start of the new league year. No surprise with his $38.2 million cap number. If they can't get a deal, they are expected to release Adams, who could rejoin quarterback Aaron Rodgers with a new team. And I'm just going to spoil it for you guys right now. He's probably going to get cut. All right, I just don't see any NFL team willing to take on his massive contract. I mean, I think his cap hit is like over $36 million the next 2 seasons. Like, it's a ridiculous number for somebody, even of Davante Adams' name recognition. He has been one of the best receivers in the game for a very long time. He is still, in my opinion, a top 15 receiver in the game today. He gets open really consistently, still one of the best route runners, brings great size to the table, is a tough catcher down the sideline as well. So I do expect him to be released. And, if you're wanting Davante Adams on the Steelers team next year, I think that this is the deal. You can have Justin Fields at quarterback, or you can have Davante Adams at wide receiver, but you likely can't have both. And the reason why I don't think you can pair Justin Fields up with Davante Adams, if that's what you want to do, is because I think that Adams is either going to follow Aaron Rodgers or he's going to go out west. So he's either going to follow Rodgers to wherever he goes, whether that's Pittsburgh, whether that's New York, whether that's somewhere else, or he's going to go play for the LA Rams or the San Francisco 49ers, one of those teams out west. Adams does prefer the West Coast, so I do think it's either going to be Rodgers, maybe the Saints, kind of not though, because they're rebuilding right now, or the West Coast. So if the Steelers don't have Aaron Rodgers, then I don't think you get Davante Adams. So if you're somebody that really wants Davante Adams, you, my friend, are an Aaron Rodgers supporter, all right? They likely do need to bring in Aaron Rodgers at quarterback if they want a chance at Davante Adams. Now, listen, man, there's other wide receiver options out there outside of Davante Adams. Like, you don't need to get Davante. He is getting older. If you want to get younger at the position, you can certainly see why you wouldn't want to bring the pairing of Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams here to the Steel City. So let's talk about somebody that the Steelers could pair with Justin Fields theoretically. And I know, man, I can already hear the groans from you guys at home, and trust me, I get it, because we talked about this guy so much last year and it ended up being nothing. But as crazy as it sounds, a wide receiver option that does make some sort of sense here is Brandon Aiyuk. All right, now he's not, necessarily I think as worth as much as he was last year. I think the Steelers would probably offer something less than what they were offering last year. But Diana Rossini from The Athletic reported today that, quote unquote, several teams have shown interest in Aiyuk. And, I would bet that Pittsburgh is one of those teams at this point. All right, and there's a number of reasons why I think the Steelers could potentially show some interest in trading for Brandon Aiyuk once again. The first one is that Pittsburgh was prepared to pay Brandon Aiyuk this exact amount of money last year. All right, remember, they were right on the doorstep of trading for Brandon Aiyuk before he eventually decided to re-sign with the San Francisco 49ers. So at this point, the Steelers' plan was to already be paying Aiyuk this kind of money. Also, that he fits with what the offensive vision is under Arthur Smith. This team desperately needs a route running specialist. So they got rid of theirs in Deontay Johnson last offseason, and then they didn't properly replace him last offseason. And they were hoping Brandon Aiyuk was going to fill that role, and unfortunately, they didn't land him, and they were left with Van frickin' Jefferson, all right? He's also younger than a lot of other wide receiver options at the position this offseason. I mean, like D-Hop, D-Hop, then you got Davante Adams, you've got Stephon Diggs, you've got a lot of the older type of wide receivers. Brandon Aiyuk is only 27 years old, and he theoretically still has a lot of football left in the tank. And then also, if he just absolutely sucks and say that knee injury completely cooked him this offseason, then the Steelers can get out of his contract pretty easily in 2026 with pretty minimal dead money because San Francisco already put in a ton of the guaranteed money when they signed his deal last year via his signing bonus. Now, there are legitimate issues about bringing in Brandon Aiyuk, all right? Number one is how serious is his injury? And is he even going to be able to play in week one? That is a serious question right now because he tore his ACL, his PCL, and had other ligament damage in his knee. That is a very, very major injury that he suffered, and it's very possible that he's not even ready to go before this season begins. That's seriously concerning to me, guys. Then also, how much does San Francisco want? Because at this point, after that major injury with the contract that he has, if they're expecting a high draft pick, I just don't think they're going to get it for Brandon Aiyuk, all right? I think at the very most, they would get a third-round pick for him. And, I would consider offering it if I knew he was healthy. If I had a guarantee that Brandon Aiyuk was going to be healthy for week one, I think he's worth a third-round pick. If he's not going to be ready for week one, it gets into more of the discussion of a fifth-round pick for me, all right? But I think that Brandon is a good player. I think that he fits what the Steelers need. He's a really good run blocker. He's an excellent separator against man coverage, something the Steelers desperately need right now. And obviously he fits what this team wants to do offensively because they nearly traded for him just last year. So you got two options here, all right? Aaron Rodgers with Davante Adams here in Pittsburgh, or option two being Brandon Aiyuk and Justin Fields. So that's your second option, all right? So between this quarterback and wide receiver duo, which one would you rather have? I think that there's an argument to be made for both. One is certainly older, but the other one is certainly younger. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Which quarterback wide receiver duo would you be taking if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type 1 or 2 down there in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. In just a second here, I'm going to be talking about our sponsor today at Fanatics. And while I'm talking about Fanatics, let me know which quarterback wide receiver duo you would take as a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. And of course, if you're living in Pittsburgh, if you're living anywhere cold right now, it's still cold. All right, here even at the beginning of March. Now, things are going to be warming up here soon, but there's still a little bit of time to keep your ears warm and also rep your favorite football team. So go to chatsports.com/beanie right now to get this awesome Steelers beanie on sale with our friends at Fanatics right now. And of course, spring is right around the corner. You might not get much use out of this right now, but you can get use out of this thing for years, and you can get it at a great price right now. And it helps out the channel because Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds every time someone makes a purchase. When you go down to our link, chatsports.com/beanie, we greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. So get this Steelers beanie in your collection today. So now let's shift over to quarterback rumors here, where ESPN's Jeremy Fowler says that the Steelers could still be in on potentially signing quarterback Sam Darnold this offseason. This is what Fowler had to say today about his market. The Giants, Raiders, and Titans are among the logical options for Darnold, and I'm not totally discounting the Steelers here, not yet, at least. So if Jeremy Fowler isn't ready to completely discount Sam Darnold's chances of being a Pittsburgh Steeler, I will. All right, I don't think Sam Darnold will be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year, and I think that I have two very specific reasons why I think Darnold will not be in Pittsburgh. Number one is that he's too expensive, all right? And we'll talk about what the projected contract looks like for him in just a second. And then the second thing is he throws way too many turnovers, and he always has. Now, his turnover-worthy play percentage went down last year compared to his career average. Played a lot better in that regard, but it was still 31st in the league. This guy throws a lot of interceptions. If you know anything about Mike Tomlin, he hates his quarterback to throw interceptions, all right? So that's not a fit with Mike Tomlin. And then the projected contract is 3 years and over $40 million per season. Guys, the Steelers want to be a run-heavy offense. It doesn't make sense to pay a quarterback over $40 million per season, especially if he throws too many interceptions, if you're trying to be a run-heavy unit. So I just don't think that Sam Darnold is a realistic possibility. Right now, I think the most likely option is Justin Fields, followed by Russell Wilson, and an outside chance it's Aaron Rodgers. Those are the three options that I think are the most realistic at this point. Then the final topic I want to talk about today is a concerning report surrounding the second-year wide receiver out of Michigan, Roman Wilson. And you guys will remember last year, it seemed like time in, time out, he was a healthy scratch. When he got back from that injury, he still wasn't playing, and we were all wondering why. Well, it seems like we have the answer to that here from Bob Labriola, who works for the Steelers organization. Their media team says, my understanding of the situation is that at no point was there a legitimate level of confidence that Roman Wilson understood the offense and his responsibilities within it to the degree where that would allow him to execute it at game speed during the stretch of the NFL regular season. So the fact that, your rookie wide receiver comes in and he's not ready to go from a mental standpoint and from a comprehension standpoint, that's concerning, all right? Plain and simply. Like, he wasn't ready to go even when he was injured. I get that he has to do rehab, but he can't do some extra studying to make sure that he's ready to go once he's ready to go. I mean, I just don't get why Roman Wilson wasn't ready if he was truly somebody that could pick up an NFL playbook. Now, he gets a whole offseason here to figure it out. So hopefully here in year 2, he turns that corner and they feel that level of confidence that they need to feel in him to be able to play this offense at game speed. And I'm hoping that Roman Wilson is going to be able to come in next year and really be a pleasant surprise, because at this point, I think there's a lot of doubt among Steelers fans about whether or not Roman is going to be a good player in this league. I think that he's a slot specialist. I compared him to Randall Cobb when he was coming out of Michigan last year. I think that he's a great route runner. He's got really solid hands. He's a competitor. I want to believe in his future, but man, this is a very concerning report. And I think at this point, you can have hope in Roman Wilson, but you can't go into next year expecting big things out of this kid if he wasn't able to get it done in year 1. So finish it off for me down there in the comments section. Concern level for Roman Wilson after hearing this report today. Put it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 meaning not worried whatsoever. He's going to be perfectly fine. To 10 meaning I am absolutely panicking. We need to get rid of this guy right now. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For me personally, I'm probably around a 4 when it comes to that kind of stuff. But that'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the program. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't forget, we got more Steelers content, 2 videos coming your way tomorrow afternoon.